Hey guys, Zer here, and today I'm playing Trilby's Notes for the PC. I'll be using ScumVM to play it for convenience. This is the third game in the Chzo Mythos series, and again, still pronouncing it that way. Who knows if it's right. It's the second game chronologically, and this one serves as a direct sequel to 5 Days a Stranger. I'm sticking with playing these games in their release order, rather than chronological order, and much like 7 Days a Skeptic, this will be a blind run. With all that said, let's get started. And jumps right to the title screen, Trilby's Notes. I do want to point out here while we're listening to the music that in version 2.9.0 ScumVM, there was actually a small issue with some of the fade-in, fade-out code, some little bit in the AGS thing for it. And you actually couldn't see the title screen. You'd hear the music, but you just see a black screen, and you could actually mash like enter to get into the game, but you wouldn't know what you were clicking on. It might also affect the ending as well. But funny enough, in 2.8.1, an older version, it wasn't an issue, and I forget exactly why. But point is that I was going to just play in the older version when I saw that 2.9.1 literally just got released, and I already known that the fix had been implemented in like the developer builds, so I figured it would be included in this one. And sure enough, it loads in just fine, so we should be good. There shouldn't be any issues, but if any pop up, we'll deal with them then. But now let's go ahead and get into the game here. We'll go ahead and leave the tutorial on. I think it's just at the very beginning. And we are playing the special edition, which does allow things like the commentary. We'll go ahead and turn this off here. It being the special edition, I think there's a few minor things tweaked. Probably not too much to the actual main game itself. I think the ending scene gets a little bit of something extra. But besides that, it should be the same game. So let's just go ahead and jump on in here. The following documents are taken from the handwritten notes of Trilby, an STP field operative whose real name remains classified. Game over! That was what I thought as I stood and watched Chzo Manor collapse into flaming ash. The ordeal was over. Those 5 days cost us all so much. Philip and AJ paid with their lives. They were the fortunate ones. Jim Fowler was expelled from school for truancy, a bright future in tatters. Simone Taylor took to the bottle. Her broadcast became slurred, her eyes hollow and unwelcoming. She soon vanished from television screens. As for me, I tried to return to life as a cat burglar, but I had been forever tainted by my time spent in that wretched house. The memories of my possession came back in my nightmares. Every night I was there again, in the mansion, staring out through unfamiliar eyes as Philip died at my hands. I became convinced that John Defoe was not at rest, that someday he would return for me. I became so terrified of invisible enemies that I forgot about the tangible ones. Trilby caught, infamous thief captured, and police sting. 2 slow, miserable years after Defoe Manor, a barrage of trenchant blows taught me a harsh lesson in reality, and I woke up in the kind of filthy cell I assumed would be my new home. But then he came, the man from the government with his nervous smile, offering an alternative. The STP, the Special Talent Project. It hadn't been that much earlier that I would have sooner died than entered an obligation with anyone, least of all the government. Had Defoe Manor changed me so much? Whatever my reasons, I left my past behind and resolved to give my new superiors nothing to complain about. I spent a year and a half completing assignments, developing contacts, building a reputation. And then, the past caught up. In the summer of 1997, I became concerned about Simone Taylor's mental well-being. The papers were reporting her continual breakdown, and she had become a virtual recluse. I had no idea if my appearance would assist or hinder. I had, after all, deliberately allowed her to think me dead. Presumably she knew differently now, after the media coverage of my arrest, but I would expect her to be bitter about my subterfuge. On balance, I decided that a meeting with an old friend would most likely be beneficial. I came to her apartment building on a warm, stormy night and braced myself for the encounter. Use the cursor keys to move, tap once to start moving, tap again to stop. To give a command, just start typing it and the text box will appear. Use simple sentences like look around or knock on door. The question mark symbol signifies that the game expects input. When it is visible, you are free to move and issue commands. So right away you'll notice that this is not a point and click per se like the first two were. This actually has a text parser. So you can see I can look around. Simone's apartment building was gripped by a a thick smell of musty, unwashed carpets. It perplexed me that a celebrity would choose to live in such low-rent accommodation. So, unlike the first two, it's a text parser, which I was kind of surprised by. I actually was really hoping that it was just going to be more the point and click, but you know what? It's fine. I'm okay with text parser as well. It can just be a little harder because you sometimes have to find the right command. I do want to point out, though, that I'm not a huge fan of this font. I mean, it looks cool, but it makes it a little hard to read for some of the letters, and I'm trying to like flow through the sentence. I much prefer a more simple font, to be perfectly honest, but I can't change it, so we'll just have to deal with it. So right off the bat, let's go ahead and make some saves here. I'm going to go ahead and make some temp saves, because I always like having 2 to rotate between. So I'm basically not going to really need the mouse, except for, I guess, navigating that part of the menu. So let's go ahead and take a look around here. So we already looked at the room, right? Check out the window. A summer storm was raging outside. Light rain pattered against the glass, the gentle noise punctuated by rumbles of coarse thunder. Now, I'm the kind of player that likes to kind of look at everything and get a lot of the flavor text, so it's what makes my playthroughs take a lot longer, but, you know, I want to get the full experience, you know. Creaky steps led back down to the lobby. There were 2 entrances to 2 apartments. Simone's was the one on the right. Now, I will say that, assuming you've played 5 Days a Stranger, as well as, and again, the release order, 7 Days a Skeptic, I already know what to expect to find here, unfortunately, because it was actually told towards the end of the game for 7 Days a Skeptic, so let's just go ahead and get it over with. If I can spell correctly, knock on door. I knocked sharply on Simone's door. Press F3 to recall your last command. Oh, how nice. Sure, do it again. Receiving no reply, I knocked again, louder. That's actually really nice. That's a great way to introduce that you can F3 it, like, because it's like part of the thing, like, you wouldn't hear a knock, or you wouldn't hear a reply. You would knock again, at least once. How about again? Still no response. The doorman had assured me Simone was in. I decided it was time to enter by my own methods. Press tab or type in to view your inventory. Press tab again to close it. So we have with me some lockpicks. Can I look at them? Look at my lockpicks. I still carried lockpicks with me wherever I went. The SCP had offered to supply any number of sophisticated infiltration tools, but I was only comfortable with picks. Use lockpick on door. I reasoned that Simone could have been in trouble, and even if she wasn't, then at worst I was only playing to my reputation. I spent a few minutes feverishly picking the lock, then let myself in. Hey Simone. How you doing? Simone's bedroom light refused to turn on. I stood in pitch darkness, the intermediate flashes of lightning preventing my eyes from adjusting. Can I just call out, hello? Talk to Simone. I was talking to myself. Well, speaking of myself, how about let's look at ourselves? It was too dark to see anything. Well, god damn it. I've been hoodwinked. Well, we'll look at ourselves later. Turn on light. I'd already tried the switch when it came in. It didn't work. The storm continued outside. I wondered why only part of the light was entering the room. Nope. Of course you're not going to understand that. I was certain there was something not quite right about the room. I had to figure out what it was before I left. Okay, I'm back. So, I guess maybe I could have thought to try this, but I didn't know the words of what I wanted to do. I don't necessarily want to open the window per se, but if you open the blinds, I pulled open the blind. Well, yep, that's what I expected. The body on the floor was undoubtedly Simone. I felt for her pulse. My hands came away stained with long, cool blood. My fingers traced the outline of a large wound in her torso, slashed by a big weapon, wielded by a big assailant. I called for an ambulance, as futile as it would be, and left before they arrived. Due to me being a clear murder suspect, I was relieved from duty for the week it took for the Ministry of Occultism to inspect the flat and confirm supernatural activity. My superiors simultaneously apologized and assigned me to investigate if there was a connection to the Defoe Manor incident. Merely reading those 3 words, capitalized on the front of a loose leaf file, brought the nightmares back with more intensity than ever. Sure enough, a field agent reported that looters had discovered and sold several artifacts from the mansion, including the wooden idol that housed John Defoe's soul. To my surprise, no murders had been reported or committed by anyone who had come into contact with the accursed trinket. I did not find this reassuring. I quickly advised James Fowler to go into hiding. He was stunned, but agreed. The boy had sense, and still respected my judgment. This done, I began following the idol's trail. From the pawn shop it had entered the possession of one Professor Abed Chahal, an authoritative historian. Wasn't that name in 7 Days a Skeptic? He had scheduled some kind of antique fair in the Clanbronwyn Hotel on a small island off the coast of Anglesey. I'm trying to read this. It's hard to read the font for some of this. That's why you might hear me kind of stumbling here. For like Anglesey, popular with tourists. Assuming the role of a scholar of antiquities, I booked a room. On the 28th of July, 1997, I caught a ferry from Port Chellog. I can't read that. It looks like Port Hlle. How do you pronounce that? Anyways, okay, from Port wherever in Anglesey, and arrived at around 3 p.m. in Clonbronwyn's Island coastal village. It seemed a peaceful hamlet, and in defiance of stereotype, the locals were welcoming and told me no local legends to dissuade me from exploring the island. I'm just going to say the Clan Hotel, the Clanbronwyn Hotel, I guess that's not too bad. Clanbronwyn Hotel was in the island's center, surrounded by forest. I made my way there on foot. It's really hard to read that font. You're Trilby, right? See, that other font, I would have preferred that font. As soon as I arrived, I was greeted by a balding man in a gray anorak. It's an anorak. I wondered if I was expected to know who he was. That depends. My name is Lankman. I'm with the Ministry of Occultism. Oh? I thought the Ministry were clear on the fact that I was handling this on my own. Maybe there are still people who don't trust you, Mr. Trilby. What? I haven't stolen anything since I joined the STP. Your colorful past is not what concerns my superiors. It hasn't gone unnoticed that your history with the Defoe Wraith influences you psychologically. I'm sure you resist it, but it could still cause you to act irrationally, disobey orders. Everyone just feels a little safer with someone else on the ground. I see. You can rest assured that I will endeavor to maintain absolute professionalism on this assignment. Nevertheless, I have my orders. I would suggest we keep out of each other's way, then, and to pursue separate investigations. I'm sure I don't want to get mixed up in a reunion. I watched him disappear around the corner of the building. I very much doubted that Lankman and I would become friends. The Clanbronwyn Hotel lobby was a warm welcome. The building was certainly well maintained, and yet there was something about it that nagged at the back of my mind, quickening my pulse. I dismissed the sensation, an act which, in retrospect, I would come to regret. Good evening, Terence Railby. I have a reservation. Ah, yes, you're here for the antique fair? We've put you in room 3C on the 3rd floor, if you'd just like to sign the check-in book. Hello, Bethan. Just letting you know I'll be having dinner in my room today. Bethan. Hello, Bethan. That's absolutely fine, Professor. This, I decided, was what they called a golden opportunity. Professor Chahal? Yes? I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage. Railby, Terence Railby. We met at a few months ago at what? Sothesby? Oh, you don't remember me. No, of course I do. Terry Railby, how have you been? The astute reader has already guessed that both Terence Railby and the previous meeting were utter fiction. I had spent some time studying Chahal's movements and habits. He was, by all accounts, absent-minded, and that was something I could use. I'm well, thanks. I was hoping I'd run into you. I've heard interesting things about the items you're showcasing here. You remember I do freelance scouting for some wealthy collectors? Yes. Well, a client of mine has expressed an interest in relics from Defoe Manor in Buckinghamshire. He's been on my back for quite a while about it. Between you and me, he seems pretty obsessed. What remained of Professor Hall's suspicion melted away from his expression as the opportunity to make money entered the conversation. Well, I'm sure I wouldn't want to damage your professional status. Would you like to come up to my room for drinks? Oh, I don't want to impose. No imposition at all. Please, follow me. Your room key, Mr. Railby. Ah, thank you. Please lead the way, Professor. The Railby throws me off. It's like, oh, Trilby. It's like, no way, he's giving a fake name. A bed? Who's your friend? Oh, let me introduce you. This is my personal assistant, Sioban. She accompanies me on most of my excursions. Sioban, this is Mr. Railby, an old acquaintance. He's looking for information on Defoe Manor artifacts. Oh, really? Him and half the people we meet. What is it about that place? Never underestimate the attraction of a mystery, my dear. Please take a seat, Terry. I'll be right with you. So, interested in ghost stories? Because you're in one. The girl struck me as a forceful personality. I gave the matter some thought before replying. Not really. I'm just scouting on behalf of a client, like I told the professor. You know, it's strange to see someone as young as you in the antiques trade. Come to think of it, I thought only old men dressed like that. No offense meant. None taken. I didn't catch your last name. It's O'Malley? Sioban O'Malley? Couldn't be more Irish if I tried, could it? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong then. O'Malley. Sorry to keep you waiting, dear boy. Now then, what shall we talk about? When talking to characters, you must specify a topic of conversation. There are usually several things each character is willing to discuss. For example, try typing "talk to Abed about Defoe Manor." Okay, let's hit a save here real quick. All right. Defoe Manor. So I understand you came into possession of artifacts from Defoe Manor. Yes, indeed, and it was astonishing to me that such artifacts existed at all. The whole place burned to the ground. Did you hear about the Defoe Manor incident? I was experiencing a sick feeling that I had not felt for quite some time. The last time I felt it was while standing at the gates of another country mansion, not long after Defoe Manor, preparing to break in. Recalling those 5 wretched days churned my stomach with fear, turning what once had been the joy of thievery into an exercise in anxiety. Discussing it brought that feeling back, the act of feigning ignorance, while visions of welding masks and machetes flooded my mind's eye, worsened them. I heard something on the news. And it's been on the news again lately since that Taylor woman died. A lot of silly talk about the paranormal has been abound, so the true facts are near unreachable. But the point is, some enterprising fellows picked up 1 or 2 undamaged items from the ruins. Furniture, books, an ugly little tribal figurine. And I took them off their hands, of course, purely out of curiosity. Of course. So were there any particular items your client is interested in? Tell me, does a huge man in a welding mask and leather apron mean anything to you? Not really. Should it? Never mind. It's a small African figurine that my client wants me to look into. Resembling a rather ugly tribal god. That old thing? Honestly, despite its age, it's virtually valueless. That's what I said, but my client is very insistent. He's interested in the paranormal, and the idol features in some more unlikely accounts of the Defoe Manor incident. Well, I don't suppose I should ask questions if this man of yours wants to take it off my hands. I don't have it on me right now. It's being kept in the hotel safe. Perhaps we can work out a deal after the fair? I'd intended to display it with the other Defoe artifacts. Inwardly, I just wanted to get this mission completed as fast as possible, but I didn't want to risk suspicion or giving off the wrong impression. That will be fine. So, just out of interest, what else have you picked up from the mansion? Odds and ends, basically. Some silverware and ceramics, most of a burnt rocking chair, and the painting, of course. Painting? A landscape from a wall in the mansion's lounge. Of little artistic value, but the artist features prominently in Defoe's manor's colorful history. Matthew Defoe? That's him, yes. Bethan, she runs the hotel. She asked if she could display it in the lobby. Instantly, I recalled the sick feeling I had felt in the lobby. I'd seen the painting, but had paid it little heed. Well, me too, apparently. Oh, are you all right, Mr. Railby? You've gone rather pale. What? I'm sorry, I was just distracted by my thoughts for a moment. Lost in history, eh? Something like that. Jesus Christ! Mr. Railby, what the hell was that? What the hell was what? You were just sitting there, and then you went all stiff like you'd seen a ghost. That's because I did. You didn't see it? See what, Mr. Railby? Oh, don't act crazy now. I'm sorry. I have to go. Something's wrong. Oh, well, we won't keep you then. We'll see you later, maybe? My head was spinning, and a sudden nausea churned in my gut. The world seemed to be pulsating, the corners of the room wavering like a heat haze. I'm not gonna lie, I got a chill for a little sec there. You may say I imagined these things, and I thought that must have been the case. Was I going out of my mind? Was the hotel really changing into some nightmarish twin? Was I the only one who could see it? Am I in Silent Hill? If I was hallucinating, it was too complex. The harsh wooden floor beneath my feet felt real, though. The horrendous stench of rotting flesh that reached my nostrils could not have been conjured by my imagination. I decided I had to find John Defoe's idol as soon as possible. If not that, then at least the painting that Chahal had mentioned. I was convinced that some connection lay between Defoe Manor and this sudden madness. Well, on that note, the whispering won't stop. We'll go ahead and call this the end of a part here. So, what a way to start. I was expecting that. I knew that Simone was going to be dead because it was mentioned in 7 Days a Skeptic. But, yeah. Is he going crazy? Is Mr. Railby gone off the deep end? No, it's very clear something's wrong in this hotel. So, we'll go ahead and do some investigating in the next video.